Thank you. Now, I would first like to congratulate all of you for your amazing achievements. We are looking forward to learning a lot from you.
So on that note, we will now start with our panel discussion. So Anushka, could you start us off with the first question?
Yeah, sure. My first question is, an internship provides work experience that helps us as a student to put our knowledge into practice and develop professional skills. Hence, it is important to choose the companies wisely. Here, when we have multiple companies recruiting interns, how do you prioritize among them? Motiar, would you like to give your insights on this?
Yeah, sure. So I think it totally depends on the end goal. So if you're, let's say, if your end goal is to get an internship through CDC, it could be any internship, then it totally you'll have to be smart enough to see which companies of coming first, which companies are taking the interviews, are having the interviews in the morning slot. And if that is not the end goal, and if you have a clear fixed profile in mind, say you want to work in the finance sector, or to be more specific in the fixed income and currency section like this, so then you'll have to prioritize the companies based on this. So let's say DB comes only for fixed profiles, not for the equities, but fixed profiles. So you can and similarly, there are other finance companies like the Namura or Credit Suisse. They also have similar profiles like global markets. So you can prioritize these instead of other apart from the other companies like LEK. So yeah, so this is like you'll have to make a judgment whether you what exactly profile which profiles you want to work in. So accordingly, you can prioritize these companies.
Okay, that's great. Debraj, would you like something to add on?
Yes. There is some network load with Debraj, so I think that any other panelist would like to take up this question.
Yeah, so I guess the priorities change from person to person. So I would like to say don't just prioritize the companies. You should prioritize the roles as well. As in, you should target the roles and companies considering your long-term goals. But yeah, the general factors which are considered are like the role, the pay scale, work culture, etc.
That was very insightful.
Okay, that,
So moving on to
yeah,
the
that
next
was great.
question. So the question is, there is always a doubt about the selection procedure for the companies that offer internships, which makes the process daunting for the students. Could you highlight a generalized selection procedure for the same? So Saurav, would you like to start?
So yeah, as in I would like to highlight the process for Credit Suisse, and it's more or less similar for other companies. So like for Credit Suisse, there was a CV shortlisting initially, followed by that there was a test which consisted of maths, quants, and puzzles. Then there were four interviews. The first interview was specifically focused on CV grilling. The second was focused on puzzles and quant, and the third was around ML and data science, and the final was the HR. So it's pretty much same for other companies as well.
It's great. So Motiar, would you like to add on something?
Yeah, sure. So DB has its own selection procedure. So it starts with a situation-based test, and with that they also consider CV, good is your CV. So in the situation-based test, there are questions like, let's say if a particular bank has to follow certain rules and regulations. So let's say if you are an employee of a particular bank, so and your manager is away and he's asked you to send a presentation, but you don't have your laptop with you. So will you send it from your personal mobile or personal laptop? So these are the kind of questions that are asked. Then followed by this, after CV shortlisting, I had 3 rounds of interviews, which changes from person to person. Generally, DB takes 3 to 5 rounds. So in my first round, I was asked like questions which were relevant to my CV, like there was CV grilling, and then also some general questions like I'm from a chemical engineering background, so why I want to join finance, like why do I want to work in this particular sector. And apart from that, CV grilling. And second, in my second interview, it was more or less like how much pressure I can handle. So they were asking HR questions like which is my biggest failure, what is my take on failure, what was my biggest achievement, and followed by some questions on my CV. I wasn't getting enough time. Like if even if I'm not completed with a particular answer, they were just throwing off another questions at me, so that they were just checking whether if I'm able to explain whatever I have written in my CV, and like clearly or not, or whether I was just bluffing. And the third round was quite open ended. The questions were ranging from what is the repo rate, who is the current finance minister, to like pressure testing again. Like I was asked 5 questions, and for each question, I was given 10 seconds. So this is a selection procedure that DB follows. Apart from this, like some people were also asked questions on guesstimates and case interviews, but like I was lucky enough they didn't ask me these questions. So you'll have to be prepared for those as well.
Okay, so that was really insightful. Devraj, would you like to add some points?
Yeah, what I would like to say is that being well versed with current affairs helps you a lot in group discussions and interviews because mostly in the case of number, and I'm sure of other finance companies also, they say they look that whether the candidate follows financial news, is well versed with macroeconomic trends, what is happening in the country, in global markets, etc. So if you are following those current affairs and you can intelligently plug them into your discussions with the interviewer or in the group discussion itself, then those are brownie points. So they will definitely get you into the next round, at least for the group discussion round. I feel.
It's great. So moving on to our next question.
A good CV often helps in building a good impression, but there may be some points that we must know regarding the CV. So, please enlighten us on that. Any panelist who would like to answer this question?
So yeah, I would like to say go for perks in your CV. As in, the more perks you have, there's a more shortlist chances. Like the perks would be like the research projects at IMB, ISB, or like an FT as well. So if you are doing these things, it adds a value to your CV. Or like if you have CFA, FRM certification, that adds value for your CV. Also, a decent CGPA of like around 8 plus or 8.5 plus would be good to go. Then a decent PUR. Also, if you have a corporate intern that you had done earlier, that also counts in if you have the corporate intern as a like mentioned on your CV. Also, the projects or the skills around data analytics. Yeah, they many companies like even the Credit Suisse was looking for the data analytics related skill set. So if you mention that, then that will be helpful for you.
That's great. So, Saurav,
I'd
would
like
you like to add
to
on? Ah, yes, sure.
I'll just like to add a few highlights to whatever Saurav just said. Uh, this is specific to DB. So DB actually looks for an entire whole package, and just not like if you are having finance interns or certifications like CFA or FRM, it really helps you. But then what they want is like there should be spikes in your CV. So if you're having like if there is a possibility for a publication, do it and mention it in your CV. Apart from that, DB also looks for good PORs. Like POR like generally reflects your sense of responsibility, your professionalism, whether you have time management skills or not. So finance firms generally look for good PORs as well. So make sure that you are highlighting these things in your CV properly.
So that's great. So, Devraj, would you like to elaborate?
Yeah, no, everything has been said completely, but in my personal opinion, I think that the companies they shortlist the CVs differently for 4 year and 5 year people. So for credit skills, I think open only for 5 year people last year, but for the other two companies, I can say that they know that 4 year people have got 1 year lesson time, so they do not expect so much, such as corporate interns and high level PMRs, and a good overall package with a good CGPA and moderate interest in finance depicting projects. So that is enough for a 4 year student, I feel.
Okay, so thank you so much for answering this confusing question in such a simple way. So moving on to our next question. So last minute preparation and rush are always a component when it comes to applying for anything important. Could you share with us some strategies for dealing with such pressure or anxiety and give us some funding for the same? Motiar, would you like to begin?
Yeah, sure. So, what really helps you in your last week or last minute preparation is like you should have a short summary of all the sections in your CV. It can that includes your POR, that includes your extracurriculars, and of course your internships. So, let's say when you're facing stress situations or pressure test in your interview, and they are throwing you questions after questions, so it's good to have a short summary. You can always like tell them what the key what exactly was your main objective of a particular internship was, what did you do, and what were the results. So even if you've done some exceptionally good work in your internship or say in your PORs as well, but if you're not able to formulate it in that pressure situation, and that happens with everyone, so what good does that do? So yeah, my suggestion would be in your last moment, try to like understand and keep a short summary of whatever you've done, and don't try to learn new thing, or just don't add something don't try to learn something just because you want to speak bring that topic in the interview, but be thorough, extremely thorough with whatever you've written in your CV.
That's nice. So, Saurav, would you like to express your views on this question?
Yeah. So I would like to say stay calm, focus more on improving your speed, like the problem solving speed. Though then practice more from the standard books like Heard on the Street, 50 Challenging Problems, etc. So that basically helps you streamline the preparation and follow the general doc links. Like I remember Quant Club had shared one doc link which had all the resources compiled. So that actually helps speed the process.
Sure. So, Debraj, would you like to elaborate on this question?
No, 5.7 for me.
Okay. So, okay, so let's move to our next question.
Okay. So one question that many of us have is how many profiles should be prepared for us to maximize the chances of getting a good internship? So any panelist who would like to take this question and simplify for us, any panelist who would like to take this question?
Okay,
Anyone?
okay, so I'll take this. Generally an ideal number would be two. So I personally prepared for finance because I had a finance background. I also appeared for FRM. But apart from that, as a backup, I kept the analyst profile because during my stay at Kharagpur, I had done multiple projects and competitions in machine learning and data analysis. So yeah, I'll say whatever, like keep one particular profile in mind and try to give your best in that, but at the same time for a backup keep at least one more. And like if just don't just like try for software analytics, consulting and finance all, because that will basically you'll your focus will be diverted and then you won't be able to give your 100% in any of these. So I'll say I'll suggest two is an ideal number, but then it also depends on like you which interests you have. Like if you have multiple interests, then you can also pursue all of them.
Okay, that was really elaborate. Motiar, would you like to elaborate something on this?
Actually, I just answered it.
Oh, sorry. Okay, yeah. So moving on to the next question.
Okay, so now this is one of the most important question that what are the prerequisites required for the finance profile? Could you also highlight some important components that makes up a good profile? So Saurabh, would you like to begin with this question?
As in profile for CV, I mentioned earlier like what all things you need. But overall in the interviews, what they do look for is basic finance knowledge. Then like basic finance knowledge in the sense you should have a basic idea of the economics, or like at least go through CFA level 1 or FRM level 1 course curriculum, so that you know the basic terminologies, so that the interviewers, they feel like you are interested in finance roles, like because they say that they don't look for the people who know or like have the finance background, but if you have it from the prior knowledge, it's a add on for you, for sure. Then also they look for the problem solving approach, they'll ask you puzzles and all. So develop your problem solving approach, and definitely, as I said, finance and analytics go hand in hand. So I would say good analytical skills are like wo- would be definitely add on for the profile.
So that was really insightful. So Debraj, would you like to add on some points?
Yeah, in my opinion, whenever you are preparing for a finance profile, I think it's a very good thing if you yourself invest in the capital markets. Right? And also, if you are preparing, I would recommend to prepare in only one asset class. For example, equities only, or only fixed income. So fixed income is a much bigger market than equities, and more companies come for fixed income for off campus also. So if you know the basic idea of a bond, its yield, Z spreads, etc., some fixed income terminologies you have, so that will be good. And mostly about the level of if you have any project on your CV related to finance, for example, if you have done any project on equity research, then you should be knowing the in and out of that domain completely. So if you say that I have done equity research, you will be able to explain anything and everything that the interviewer asks of you. So how you did it, what valuation models you used, what metrics you used, everything. So that is what. So I will advise you to hold on to one asset class and explore it completely. That would be the best instead of going over everything which you will not be able to do.
So that was really helpful. So Motiar, we would like to listen to your views on this question.
Hey, so Saurav and Devraj have almost like covered all the points, but still to add to this, with respect to Deutsche Bank, they like DB does not look for people who like DB does is not interested in people who are like if you know finance, then it's a plus for you. If you've done CFA or FRM, then it's a plus for you. But then they are looking for people who are smart enough to like who are smart enough to look at the particular problem statement and then pick it up, like understand what is going in the background, understand what is happening, and then just like get stuff very quickly. So this is what they are looking for. That, and they have their own training session in the first week of the internship. So if even if you don't have a good finance background, they'll teach you everything. So yeah, so there aren't any like specific fixed prerequisites. Having a good finance internship is a plus, but even if you don't, then you then also you can easily get an internship at Deutsche Bank.
Okay, so that was really insightful and helpful for our audience. So we will be moving on to our next question.
Now that everyone will be getting, like, will be starting their practice, so what level of expertise does the interviewer expect from us? Um, Motiar, would you like to elaborate on this? Would you like to answer this question?
Sure. So again, the interviewer does not expect, does not want you to know everything. Okay, but he just wants you to know and have a thorough understanding of whatever you've done in your and whatever you've written in your CV. So I'll suggest don't bluff, be thorough with whatever you've done, know each and every lines in your CV, and that would be like you'll be good to go. And basic understanding, if you're appearing for a finance profile, it is you should have a basic understanding of bonds, equities, how like equities work, what are the valuation models. Simply like simple basic understanding will do.
Okay, that was really insightful. Any other panelist would like to add on this topic?
I mean, most of the firms in their PPTs they would say that they don't expect any prior expertise. But what I feel is it's always more the merrier. So I mean, it's better to be prepared for the best expertise. This is what I feel like. As in, if you consider the finance thing, like if you consider the knowledge in finance, you should go through the CFA material once, even if you're not attempting CFA, because there may be many people around who have actually attempted or cleared it, and as in it will be always merrier to prepare more.
Okay, that was great. So moving on to the next question we have.
Okay, so as we know that the D day is filled with lot of anxiety for the students going up for the interview. So can you tell us some of the strategies so that those students can relax themselves and be prepared to ace the interviews? So Devraj, would you like to start?
Yeah, so for finance and for all the three finance, consulting, and management type roles, it's important that you be calm and confident. So whatever you have done, if you have done it properly, you should be able to tell it confidently and crisply. So they mainly look for structured thinking and that you can explain your stuff properly. They do not want to go into too much technical jargon. So you should be able to convey your thoughts properly. So that is one big thing. And always keep a smile on your face. The main thing is that you have to be presentable because roles such as finance, consulting, they deal with having to meet a lot of people and interacting with them. Banks and companies always want their employees to be very presentable and smart, right? So, for the interviews, I would say that I think these are very last minute tips, but still, I'm giving them like uh, dress properly and be smart, keep a smile on your face. Just overall, make yourself such as that the other person would want to talk with you. So,
Okay.
that is
Yeah, so by your answer, we all understood that being presentable is very important at last moment. So, Motiar, would you like to add on some points?
Sure. I totally agree with what Devraj just said. So be you'll have to be very confident when you're sitting for an interview, and it only comes from practice. So make sure that you're giving multiple mocks, speak to your seniors, have them go through your CV and ask them for like to ask them that they are taking good questions. There are certain sections in your CV that you always forget preparing for. So if you're giving multiple mocks, then it helps you understand your projects more on a minute deeper level. Apart from that, when I say that you should prepare short summaries, make sure you're not keep it intuitive. Okay, don't throw in a lot of jargon specific to your project, and it only if you're making them feel stupid, then you're the one who is not going to crack the interview. So yeah, apart from this, if you don't know a particular answer, make sure you say clearly mention that you don't know it. And if the interviewer asks but still if you are confident enough that you can tell them their approach, tell them ki, you even if you don't know the answer, you have a particular approach that might actually work. So ask them if you can share the answer. That really helps you. But if you don't know the answer and still you're bluffing, it wastes their time and it sends a very bad impression. So if you're telling them upfront that you don't know it, it saves their time and they'll really appreciate it. Apart from that, one thing is when you're preparing your CV, make sure that your CV is telling us particular story, like why you don't want to work in a particular sector, what did you do to pursue your interests. So make sure your whatever you're writing in your CV, it is in this particular order. And yeah, I think those if you're following these properly, then you'll definitely ace the interview.
Okay, so these are really helpful tips. Saurabh, would you like to add on some insights?
Yeah, I mean both of them pretty much covered everything. But yeah, like I would say, stay calm and confident. Don't fake because interviewers are pretty much experienced enough to figure out. And also, if you ain't confident about any particular question, take help of the interviewer instead of staying quiet. So yeah, as in
Okay, so that was really helpful and insightful for our audience.
Okay, so now we will begin with the question and answer session. We have collected some frequently asked questions from the student community, and it would be really great if you could answer those queries. So, like the first question is, having some knowledge of programming and analytics profile, will it give us an edge over others? Will it help us in any other way? Debraj, would you like to say something on this?
Yeah, having knowledge of programming and analytics will definitely give you an edge over others because you know finance companies they have people from tech colleges mainly because they know tech, right? So if they wanted a purely finance guy, they would have gone to an MBA college where they teach finance. But we have an edge over them because we know analytics, we know Python, and that is very much important in today's world. So, so the old people at the firm, the veterans, you can say, they don't have a lot of knowledge about Python and programming, but they need the benefits of those things such as automation and everything. So that is why they hire people from tech colleges. And if along with finance knowledge you have analytics knowledge, uh, I think it is always better. It will definitely give you an edge. In fact, they will also ask
Oh,
you
okay.
have specific people in the interview panel whether when they will ask you Python questions. So that is good.
Okay, that was really insightful. Saurabh, would you like to add on something?
yeah, as in my case, the profile is finance plus data analytics kind of role only. So like it's risk modeling basically. So analytics played a vital role in my case. As in there was one entire interview round which was focused on regression and ML basics. So like yeah, I would like to strongly insist that you should do the ML Andrew NG course. So because Andrew NG course is very much theoretical, which is helpful, which becomes helpful in the interviews, as in it won't teach you how to run the regression and all, which is actually required, but it will definitely help you go through the interviews. So I had gone through the Andrew ng course.
Okay, that was really great. Just one more question. From where do we get this course? Is it paid or?
It's on the Coursera, it's free. I mean, if you ping, even if you ping me, I'll share you, like it's, it's freely available.
Okay, okay. Thank you. That was really insightful. Motiar, would you like to say something on this?
Yeah, sure. So just adding to what Saurav just said, actually finance and analytics you actually go together hand in hand. Even in DB we have so we have multiple desks and one of them is quantitative investment solutions. So therein you actually have you'll have to use Python to create some strategies on bonds and tradable instruments. So yeah, programming knowledge will really help you. And apart from this, there are various tasks which redundant tasks which people generally do. So in finance firms, if you can automate these things using your programming skills, then yeah, it's definitely a plus.
Okay, that was really insightful. Moving on to the next question we have.
Yeah, sure. So, as we know that our personality plays an important role in every aspect of our life. So our audience wants to know that is our personality also judged apart from our technical skills during our interview? Mainly, what role our personality plays in the process? So, Saurabh, would you like to start?
Yeah, like as in you should be very personality, as in I take it as you should be well dressed and presentable. You should wear formal clothes, if possible a tie, as in blazer and all are not required, but you should be well dressed and presentable. And with you should have decent communication skill, which could be practiced through, like what we used to do is we had a group of people. So like every 2 or 3 days we used to meet, and we used to practice, have some random topic for a discussion, and that actually helped us improve our communication. So yeah, that is all.
Okay. So, Motiar, would you like to give some insights on this?
Yeah, sure. See, in finance profiles, your personality is plays the most important and the major factor in your interviews. So make sure like you're not just one of the other candidates. Like you have to try to be a little apart from those. Okay, when you're starting with the interviewer, just ask the interviewer how is his day. Like, so how is he? How's the COVID scene around him? Whether he's feeling better or whatever it is. Just ask questions, show them you're also interactive, you're not just another candidate who is appearing for the interview. So these are some brownie points which really helps you to ace the interview. So this apart from being presentable, this shows that you're an extroverted person and you are actually very interested in the particular role that they are offering, and you actually want to join that company. This is not just one of the other shortlists that you have on your CTC list.
Great, that's great. So,
Okay.
Debraj, would you like to tell us your experience?
Yeah, just everything has been covered. Just personality wise, I would say just be a genuine and amicable person, interactive, don't be condescending or cocky. Yeah, I mean, being a genuine person will take you on the.
Okay. So, I would like to tell my audience that our fourth panelist, Mr. Ashish, has joined and he is with us. So, moving on to
So,
our next question.
Mr. Ashish Gokarnkar, who has secured an internship at Nomura WS, is here with us. So I would request him if he can introduce himself.
Hi everyone, am I audible?
Yes.
Yes.
Hello, yeah, this is Ashish here. So I'm interning in Nomura Wholesale Strategy this summer, and my major interests basically lie in finance and consulting, and wholesale strategy is the perfect mix for these two profiles. So it was a prime target in my CDC as well. Apart from that, in KGP, I generally hang out with ESL and play a lot of chess.
Okay, that's nice. So we will be resuming our panel discussion now.
So the next question is, how much of our personality is actually judged apart from our technical knowledge in the interview? Does personality play a very important role, or is it just not that much important? Would anyone in the panelists like to take up this question?
Basically, this question has been answered by the three panelists, and Ashish, we want to know your view on this. So, can you tell us your view?
Okay, sure. There are a couple of facets that I was keeping in mind during the interview. Like whenever you get shortlisted for any company, not just in the finance profile, if you consider in general any other company as well, make sure that you read the entire annual reports and the quarterly reports in first place, because that would help you generate an insight on how the company is performing, where are the current operations, and which areas are strong and which areas are weak. So you will be able to hold a very decent conversation with the interviewer in that scale. Secondly, if you are sitting for finance profiles in general, make sure that you have a tie and blazer on, because finance being a very cutthroat profile, it is best to keep a similar attire in that sense. Because in my Nomura interviews as well, even all the panelists had a similar formal attire, and it was pretty good that, like, if you are able to create that impression, then it works well in your cases. And third point, technical skills is one thing, but the way you communicate your ideas, make sure that you present it in a structured format, just like a consulting interview. Because even though finance is very different from consulting, but the approach that consultants use helps you a lot in creating a well-defined linear answer, which the interviewer can follow in a easy approach. So in that way, whatever you arrive for a case or a conclusion, make sure that you pitch it in a very easy to understand manner in a structured format. And for the partner round, which is the last round in a finance profile, it's going to be a plain 30-minute conversation about various jargons that are going on in the industry. For example, let's say that inflation is on a very high trend right now. So if you are able to converse with your partner for, let's say, around 15 minutes on that topic, this shows that you have been following news and you're genuinely interested in finance. So keep a track on what's going on in the industry, and maybe then it could help you in your final rounds as well.
Okay, so that was really insightful. So we would like to move to our next question.
At the present time, a lot of us have been enrolling ourselves in several online courses. So, are any of these courses worth writing in the resume? Ashish, would you like to elaborate on this answer?
Yeah, it totally depends on how the course is. Like, for example, even I had done a lot of finance courses, but I did not mention any of them because I had much better things to write on my CV. So if you feel ki you have done some good projects or good interns in finance, then well and good, like you can write them. But अगर वो absent है and you still want to go for a finance का profile, then courses are the thing which you can leverage on. If you want to write projects of these courses, then make sure that उसको ऐसे present करो जैसे it's actually valuable. Like if you're doing an equity research project, make sure that you start from the very scratch and go till the very end, creating a story in that format. If if you're trying to create a DCF valuation of a company, make sure that you include all the steps in that. If you have done something substantial in a course, then only you should present it. Otherwise, I don't think it makes much of a difference. But apart from online courses, if you have VGSOM courses in your resume, then they are a booster, of course, because VGSOM offers term projects in general, and each of these term projects are very heavy in nature. So if you are able to put that in a presentable fashion and defend it on your interview, then that can create wonders in an overall financial outlook.
Okay, that's great. Saurav, would you like to elaborate on this much more?
Yeah, like Ashish more or less covered everything, but yeah, like you can write definitely, but you should be in a position to answer questions related to it. Yeah.
Okay, that's really great. So now we'll move to the next segment of our panel discussion, that is questions from the audience.
Okay, so now we will be taking the questions from the audience. The audience is encouraged to actively write their doubts in the chat box. Okay, so I think that there are, okay, so there is one question from the audience. So the question is, how do you know if you are a good fit for the work? Given the enormous amount of time, 16 to 18 hours a day, at times, how do you know if you would be able to pursue this with the same intensity on a long run? So would anyone of the panelists like to take up this question?
Shall I go ahead with it?
Yeah, sure.
Hi, Orkodeep. So there are various factors that you must consider before jumping in to finalize an answer to this question. First is make sure that you try out each and every field that KGP has to provide. Because during my tenure, I had tried software, I tried data, I tried product, I tried analytics, then I tried finance. And from all these experiences, I realized that finance is the thing that genuinely hits my liking. Because if I have to imagine myself 10 years down the line, this is the field where I'll be able to flourish and do better justice to my entire personality that I have. This was the first aspect. Secondly, for my personal interaction, I have found that if I learn something in finance, I'm able to recollect it for a very long time. This is not the same case for me in data and software. I need to read it, reread it, revise it, and it takes up a lot of time. So this is a genuine, like, how do you call it? अंदर से वो आवाज आती है ना कि हाँ ये कर रहे तो सही लग रहा है. That type of feeling if you have, then finance is the best role for you. And third part, if you are looking for a lifestyle that finance has to provide and you aim for it, then I guess that's the only possible way to achieve it. Because you cannot expect the same enormous lifestyle if you are in a software or a data backed role.
Okay, so that was really insightful. Motiar, would you like to answer, add on some points?
I think Ashish covered pretty much all of the points. Apart from this, yeah, by the time you are sitting for your CDC internships, you must have done 2 to 3 internships. So from that experience as well, you can figure out whether, like, even if you've done 2 internships, let's say in analytics and people don't generally get finance internships easily, but in analytics or software, then you'll know whether this is something which you want to pursue, like if you want to work uh, f- 12 to 15 hours a day. So yeah, you get it from like there's only experience that will help you answer this question, so you'll have to try everything.
Okay, that's great. Uh, there are some more questions in our chat box. So one question is asked by Vanchita that could you suggest important topics to prepare for quant questions? So anyone of the panelists would like to answer this?
I think out of the straight chapters 1 and 4 cover everything. So the topics are basic probability and statistics, puzzles. There's also a series of puzzles on YouTube by TEDx. So I think there are 4 to 5 minute short videos of puzzles. About there is a playlist about of 60 videos. You can go through them. They cover all the famous and important riddles and puzzles that interviewers have been asking for centuries. So go through that and you will be prepared for any quant question. Quant as an I'm assuming that you are not asking about the typical quant question that comes in a quantitative analyst role, but basic logical reasoning question I'm assuming you're asking.
Okay, so that was nice. Saurabh, would you like to answer
Yeah, so
this?
like, yeah, as in probability and statistics plays the major role. So what I had done is I had prepared from the course which is offered at IIT KGP itself, the which is covered by Somesh Kumar. So like, yeah, I would strongly say that go through that course once, then practice from 50 challenging problems in probability, because most of the companies use this book as the standard book to ask the question directly in the interviews. And for the puzzles, go through the Heard on the Street book, which is again the standard book, and the Brain Stellar, which is a common practice platform. But yeah, it's optional if you cover the basic standard books. And other courses which I would like to say is suggest is RTSM, regression and time series modeling, which is offered at IIT KGP. It pretty much covers up most of the things which is general company coming for quant experts from a candidate. So yeah, if you have time, go to the RTSM course once. And if you're writing it on the CV, for sure you should be aware of the things in it.
Okay, that's great. So any other panelists would like to add on something? Okay, so I think that we should move on to the next question. There is one more question in the chat box that are finance and quant role different? any one of the panelists would like to take up this question?
Yeah, I'll take this one up.
Sure.
These two roles are very different, and even the companies which provide these roles are different. For example, Nomura, Wholesale Strategy, and Deutsche Bank, these provide pure finance intensive roles. But if you check out Goldman Sachs, JPMC, these are more towards quant side. And preparation for these two roles are also very different. If you choose a finance type role, then you need to have a strong inclination towards understanding asset classes and the products in general. But if you have a quant side specific interest, then you need to be thorough with your machine learning and math areas. And there are various differentiators for these two areas as well. Like even the work which you do in finance and quant, it's very separate. Quant is more towards creating valuation models, doing machine learning for various risk analysis. So it's very math and machine learning intensive, but finance guides totally separate.
Okay. So that was really a good answer. So any other panelists would like to add on something?
Oh, and yeah, one more thing, like quant roles may also require CP ka knowledge. So if you're preparing for quant, make sure that you grind through some interview bit questions as well.
Okay. So that was insightful. So we will now be moving to the next segment of our panel discussion, that is about Fundae.
So now that we are coming close to the culmination of the event, we would like to ask the panelists for their word of advice and any other point they think that discussion could not cover. This would be a great help to the audience present today. Can we start with you, Ashish?
हाँ ठीक है. So you want specific to finance or in general CDC?
In general, like more
Okay.
specifically to finance, but yeah.
Uh, for CDC, there is an approach which I followed during my time, which was guided by seniors. So before you sit for CDC, make sure that your reason to sit for CDC is very defined. Like whenever someone asks you why you want to sit for CDC, you should have a clear-cut career approach on how to answer it. ऐसे randomly CDC में अच्छा पैसा मिल रहा है करके बैठना is worthless because besides CDC as well, there are a lot of good opportunities in the entire job outlook nature. So firstly define कि CDC क्यों बैठना है, and once you have an answer for it, सारे profiles को scout करो and choose the profiles which you are comfortable in. Like now that you have only 1.5 months to prepare, I would suggest maximum stick to two profiles which are conjointly working with each other. For example, if you sit for software, it's better that you also prepare for analytics as well. If you go for finance, consulting is also something that you can try. But if you go for the second one, which is finance and consulting, make sure that you understand the gamble that you will be playing. Because if you are not able to crack a day one intern in finance and consulting, then sitting in CDC for day two, day three, day four does not make sense. Because वो profile की companies नहीं आती है बाद में. To make sure that before you apply to these companies, तुम्हारा profile already built है कि तुम कहीं ना कहीं jack लगा लोगे. Otherwise, it becomes a vicious cycle and you will then be stuck in a loop, which is very depressing. तो ये एक चीज है जो पहले से factor in करके चलना and prepare accordingly. Apart from that, leverage your seniors and your KGP alumni in the company very well, because if you are able to extract some info that is very crucial for the interviews and a lot of people do not know about it, then it can help you a lot in various aspects that you might not be unaware right now.
Okay, that was really insightful. Saurabh, would you like to elaborate on this?
Yeah, so like the general fund day would be spend good amount of time preparing your CV. So like I have seen most of the people just preparing CV in last 2 3 days, or like just preparing CV for the sake of preparing it. But I would say CV makes a CV counts in if you are sitting for consulting finance, as in it's a major factor which is considered for CV like for the shortlisting of the candidates. Then get it reviewed from the seniors. Don't put anything you can't defend. That might backfire. Also, I would say form study groups, as in that actually speeds up the preparation and also enhances your learning process. And to conclude, yeah, stay calm, don't be nervous. Feel free to reach out, and yeah, that's it. All the best.
Okay, that was really great. Motiar, would you like to elaborate on this?
Yeah, sure. I'll suggest be mentally active throughout this entire preparation session. Make sure that you're also looking out for links. Like a lot of times you get the questions that are asked by various companies. Those are available online, or they some companies go to some other campuses before they come to IIT Kharagpur. So make sure like you're trying to contact these people, so you can get a head start on the type of questions that they are asking. Apart from that, as I discussed earlier, give multiple mocks, get hold of your seniors, send them your resumes, do multiple checks, see if you're not missing out on anything in this. And yeah, a lot of practice. Apart from that, I'd like to mention that this is a very tiring process, so don't get disheartened if even if you don't get it, because there are multiple good opportunities outside CDC. So even like it happens with a lot of people, like by the end of the day five, 3, day 4, they are totally exhausted and they give up. So don't do that. Okay, keep calm, try, keep on slogging, and look for other opportunities as well. You can get equal or even better opportunities from outside CDC. So yeah.
Okay, that was really nice and great. So moving on, we have vote
Yeah.
of thanks. That
Yeah.
was really
Okay. So that was really helpful and enlightening. Now, as we come to the end of today's discussion, I would like to thank Motiar, Ashish, Debraj, and Saurav for sharing their experiences. They have given us some tips which will prove helpful for the upcoming CDC internships. It was an honor for us to have you all on our panel today. I believe that this discussion will surely benefit all the students preparing for the finance profile. Thank you very much. I would also like to say thank you to our audience for making this discussion successful. Thank you for your time and attention. Have a good day.
have a good day.